we're going to tie a woolly bugger. It's a streamer. We're going to use a size number 6 through 10 hook. The woolly bugger is very versatile and very simple, basic fly. We're going to take the vice clamp and we're going to put the hook down in the clamp, about halfway down, and we're going to clamp it down and tighten it so that this flat, the shank of the hook, is parallel to the ground. Next, we're going to take some heavy black 6/0 thread and we're going to insert it into our bobbin threader. We're going to open up the ears, snap them onto the thread, and we're going to use a bobbin threader. We're going to take this and we're going to insert the bobbin threader through the top and push it down. Take the thread and we're going to put that through the middle of the bobbin threader, and then we're going to pull up our tool, and that threads the thread up through the top. Next, we're going to peel some off. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to hold this with 2 fingers in the middle of the bobbin. I'm going to place my other hand on the end, and I'm going to lay it down over the top, so the bobbin goes over the top of the thread. I'm going to start wrapping. We always go over the top, away from us when we wrap. I'm going to put a couple wraps over the loose end and let go. It's okay for the tool to hang. Next, I'm going to cut off the excess, put that aside, and next I'm going to wrap a little more to the thread till I get to the back, to the tail tie-in point, which is right back at the straight here where it hits the bend. You tie it into there and stop right there, and just let the bobbin hang. Next, I'm going to take a marabou feather and I'm going to pinch it, and we want it, the length of it, about the same length as our hook, proportional wise. So about that long. I'm going to pinch the hairs, lay that down on top, and then do one soft, slow roll over, and then do a couple tight wraps. And there's our tail. This is excess. We're going to trim that off the top. We always trim our materials on the top so we don't cut our thread. Next, I'm going to put a couple more wraps there just to get it smooth. That's in place. Next, I'm going to take a little trick that some guys do to make some of the fish bite. They take a piece of this chromy flashaboo, and this is just a little hair-like material. It's got a pearlescent look to it in the light, and it shines. We're going to lay down a couple strands of this crystal flash up on top and tie that in place. Okay, we're going to trim those back to the same length as our tail. Now you can see those in the light, that those shine pretty good. Next, we're going to take our black, you can use a black or an olive green chenille string. We're going to defuzz one end with our fingernails and wet the string and twist it. And you can see that's about 1/4 inch. You need a piece about 2 to 3 inches long. We're going to lay down the string on top and do a slow wrap and then a couple tight wraps on that string. This is the body of our fly. Next, we're going to take a hackle feather. You notice it's got some fuzzy parts to the end. We want to trim those off and get right down to the hard stems on the feather. So we're going to cut that fuzzy off. That's excess waste. We'll take our hackle feather, and this one's a little short, but it'll work. We flare that out to get the stems out. Take the tip of the feather, just about 1/4 inch, and we're going to lay that down on top, and we're going to tie that tip of the feather in, our hackle feather. Next, we're going to take the thread, bring it all the way to the front, just behind the eye of the hook, and let our bobbin hang there. You don't want to go into the eye of the hook. We're going to take the body, the chenille string, grab that, and take one hand, wrap it over the top, grab the other hand, and just do some twists over the top. And wrap it all the way along with no gaps up to the front. That's the body of our fly. Once you get up to the front, pull your chenille all the way up on the top and make sure your thread goes behind it, a couple wraps, and anchors this down. Now this is excess. We're going to trim that off. Now we take our hackle feather, we use hackle pliers, we open them up and put it on the stem, the middle of the feather, and we hold it lightly and we start spinning this hackle feather around, and this is going to make the little wings and legs of the fly. We want to make sure it's flat to the fly, that it doesn't twist on us. Keep it flat so that it flares real nice. There we go. Make a little spirals. Work our way all the way up towards the front. When we get up to the front, we're going to wrap the thread around it and tie off this hackle. And we can let go with our pliers. We're going to trim the excess feather that's sticking out here, the stem, and wet our fingers, push the hairs back. We're going to make a nice little cone-shaped head on the front of our fly, right behind the eye, right here. So now you can see it's got a little bit of a head there, and it's got some wings, and it's got some legs, and it's got the tail with a little shininess. That's our woolly bugger. The only thing left is we need to put a half hitch in the top, an anchor knot, so this doesn't come undone. We let out some line, make 2 fingers a peace sign, put our fingers down, wrap the thread around our fingers, and put the little lasso knot right over the hook, and then pull down. Do it one more time. Push the thread, make a little loop, and then put the loop over the body, and then pull your fingers out and pull it down. That anchors it. Now we can cut off the excess thread, and we can seal this head. We use some Flex or head cement. It's like real smelly super glue. We're going to pull this off. Some of them have an extra little cap there. We're going to dip just a little bit of glue on the tip of our bodkin, and we're going to put that glue down on the head of this fly, right where the knot is at, making sure we don't get any in the eye of the hook. That'll seal it up. Then we make sure we seal our glue, wipe off our tool, and seal up the glue for next time. There we have our woolly bugger. Next we can take this, we can loosen up the clamp and hold it in the back so we don't touch the glue, and we can set it down into some styrofoam or into a container and let the head dry. Here's some other flies that we've tied previous to this. Here's a green woolly bugger, a black woolly bugger, a little crayfish, a little beetle, a caddis fly, and a steelhead double hooked fly. So there's some different flies that we've tied. We also have dry flies, which are real tiny flies that float on the top of the water that have wings on them. The wings are a little bit tricky to tie, and a great book to show you how to tie wings is the Skip Morris Concise Book of Fly Tying. In here he tells you all about the basic tools, the different materials that we use, the size hooks, and then it goes into your basics on how the different parts of the bug, how they're made up, the thorax, the head, the abdomen, and the tail. That's all for now. Thank you. Flying ant. There's just 2 simple materials to it. There's some black chenille fuzz string. We just need a little piece about 3 inches long. and then we have a hackle feather. And we'll take one hackle feather, black, just a medium-sized one, and that's it. We use a small, like about a size number 18 hook. You can have a flat head, not a downturned head on the hook. We clamp that in, tie it down. Okay, we've already threaded a black thread on our bobbin. We're going to take the thread in our left hand, the end, and take our bobbin in the right, lay it down over the hook, and do a couple simple wraps. And just lay down some base thread over the base of the shank of the hook. Okay, next we're going to move our thread back to the tail tie-in point, which is always right where the straight hits the back curve. We're going to trim our excess off, and we're going to take some chenille string. We're going to defuzz the end so we get down to the string in the middle, and we're going to take that string and lay it down on top of the hook. And do one slow wrap and then a couple hard tight wraps on that to anchor it down. Next, I'm going to move my thread to the very middle and let it hang out there. I'm going to take the chenille string, wrap it over the back. This is the butt of the ant. We're going to bring it around the middle and wrap it a couple times here. And we're going to wrap the front of the body of the ant and bring it back to the middle and wrap that in the middle. We're going to pinch down by wrapping about 10-15 times right in the middle, almost on top of itself, a whole bunch of thread, pushing down the fuzzies. What that does, and then trim off the excess, is makes the ant look like a front section and a back section. That's what we want. Right in the middle. Put a few more wraps to make it flat in the center. Push down the fuzzies and let it hang. We're going to take the hackle feather, and we don't want any of the fuzzy parts of the feather, we just want the stem part. So we're going to trim off the fuzzy part, throw that away. We're going to use the tip of the feather, tie in the very tip, about a 1/4 inch, wrap it over the top slow, and then give it a couple tight snugs. Next, we're going to just use our hands, or we could use our hackle pliers and grab the stem of the hook if we want to. And we're going to flare this hackle feather right in the middle. This is going to make it look like wings of a flying ant and legs. We're going to wrap the thread around the excess. And there's your flying ant right there. I'm going to give a little more material. Wrap it around one more time. Get rid of my pliers. And we're going to trim off the excess of this feather right on top. There we got the wings and the legs of this little ant. Remember, make our little peace sign, wrap it around a lasso, put it over the top, and then pull down. That anchors it. Trim it off, and we're all done. There's our little flying ant. Piece of cake. That works good in the summertime when it rains out, right near a bank, because grasshoppers and ants and bees get washed in from the banks when it rains, and this is a good tactic in the midsummer to use a terrestrial, a bug that's there all year long. Thank you.